Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're exploring a truly fascinating and honestly a surprisingly upbeat corner of the legal world. We're looking at the exact legal framework that ensures hardworking seafarers actually get the wages they've earned. I mean, think about it. When you're out on the open ocean, way far away from traditional courts and police stations, how does the law actually protect you? Well, it turns out the Maritime Code is incredibly well equipped to fight for the little guy. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how the justice system tracks down maritime debts and delivers legal documents, no matter where a ship might be hiding out. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our visual roadmap for today. We're going to see just how logically the law handles debts and document delivery at sea, going from demanding payment right up to the ultimate legal repo, and figuring out how to track down elusive ship owners. Right, so kicking things off, the whole maritime legal code is fundamentally built as this giant if-then action tree. It's perfectly designed to guarantee justice for unpaid workers. Because look, when a court orders wages to be paid, it isn't just some polite suggestion, right? According to Section 291 of the text, if a court makes an order for the payment of wages and that money isn't paid on time or in the way they directed, the court issues a warrant. And that warrant allows the owed sum plus any awarded costs to be, and I quote, levied by distress and sale of the movable property. I know, it's a dense legal phrase, but this right here is the exact trigger where the law goes from just asking nicely to taking direct action. So the crucial point is exactly what that jargon means in the real world. Let's visualize this so it's perfectly easy to understand at first glance. Levied by distress simply means the legal seizure and sale of a person's movable property to pay off a debt. It's actually surprisingly straightforward. If someone owes a seafarer money and they ignore the court order, authorities can literally step in, take the debtor's movable goods, sell them off, and hand that cash right over to the worker. It's a bright, clear, and absolutely powerful mechanism for justice. But what happens if the person refusing to pay is a major maritime player, like the master or the owner of the vessel? Let's move to and see how this builds, because the law has a special, highly escalated response just for them. Step 1. The court orders the payment of a seafarer's wages or fines, but the order is ignored. So, Step 2. The court tries to seize movable property. But if that still isn't enough, we hit Step 3. The court can direct the unpaid amount to be levied by the distress and sale of the actual vessel and her equipment. Seriously, imagine that. You refuse to pay your crew, so the court legally seizes your entire multi-ton ship and all its gear to force the payment. It is literally the ultimate legal repo, and it proves that nobody is too big to ignore a worker's right to get paid. Now, let's shift gears for a second to the actual physical logistics of justice, because before you can seize a ship or enforce a court order, you have to officially serve the legal papers. How does the law actually track down these elusive maritime figures to serve them? And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between land-based and sea-based law. To track down people who literally spend their entire lives moving across oceans, you need a different system. On land, you have standard delivery. You hand it to them personally, leave it at their house, or send it by post. Simple enough, right? But for maritime delivery, Section 292 says if you need to serve the master of a vessel, you can just leave the document on board with whoever is or even just appears to be in command or charge. The law completely adapts to the physical reality of the situation. You don't have to chase the master down in the engine room. You just hand it to the person steering the ship and consider it served. But wait, what happens when a document needs to be served to a master, but there is no master and the ship is just sitting idle in a port in India? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the law cascades through a series of highly practical backup plans. Plan A is to serve the owner directly. If they aren't in India, Plan B is to serve a known agent of the owner who resides in India. But what if there's no agent to be found either? Plan C is amazing. You simply affix a copy of the legal document directly on the vessel or at a suitable place on the bridge. I mean, despite all the dense legal maneuvering, sometimes the long arm of the law just resorts to taping a legal warrant to a multi-ton ship's bridge, exactly like leaving a passive-aggressive note on your roommate's refrigerator door. It's so practical, it's undeniable, and legally, it counts 100%. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. When the law finally catches up to a ship, does justice simply begin with a piece of paper taped to the bridge? The answer is a resounding yes. What you really should take away from this is that the maritime legal system is fiercely dedicated to ensuring people are paid and notified. It doesn't let borders, oceans, or missing captains stand in the way. From seizing entire ships to literally taping warrants to the steering wheel, the law always finds a way to deliver. It kind of makes you wonder what other everyday legal processes have wild, real-world adaptations just to keep society functioning. Keep that curiosity alive, and we'll explore together next time.